Hi, it's Saturday, the 2nd of May 2020, and it's an extremely powerful day. It's a key day for my family dynamics. And so my grandfather and my daughter both have this galactic signature. So just sending the love and blessings to them today. And really feeling that connection, really feeling that energy today. This is key to this festival this weekend, which is Beltane, the fire festival, the coming together of the Green Man and the May Queen and the Maypole, and dancing around the Maypole, fertility, the human being part of ourselves that wants to be with our beloved other person and to really raise that Kundalini energy. So in terms of the Mayan, today we are here. So we're still in the Red Castle. We are in White Galactic Wizard, which is a bit of a misnomer in some ways really for this time, because it represents the moon goddess, Ixchel. So check her out as the midwife, as the rebirther, as the archetype, the template, which is all about letting the magic flow through us rather than thinking that we need to create it. So in terms of our current cultural construct in the West, it's all about business, it's all about what we have to do, it's all about do, be proactive, and moving away from cycles where we do actually need to rest, we need to be in balance. When we're doing the sun part of the year, then we're out on the land doing the action in connection with the cycles, remembering that we are governed by the cycles just like every other being on planet Earth. And so to work with these cycles, like the pagan cycles of today, Beltane, so it's remembering that ancient peoples worked in alignment with energy. They didn't go beyond it. They didn't think they knew more than the divine. They didn't push themselves in the ways that people do now. And so really key learning about this is to match the cycles and to let the magic flow through us, and to let go of anything that's getting in the way of that. It's the 14th Mayan sign. So we've had the first 13, which yesterday was the end of that particular signature. So around the human being who is doing the conscious cycle and being the Skywalker, which means the Buddha process, which means the person who's ready to really understand their story, their personal human being story, and start to rewire it through awakening to understanding it and healing it on a deeper level. That's the key now. And that's the key to today, because today is Galactic. And that is all about integration of our personal story. So we're going to the next level. And my understanding of these next 7 signs is they're the solar seals. They're the process of mastery of the first 13. That's my personal understanding of it. I don't know if that's written anywhere else. I haven't come across that yet. That's what I have learned intuitively through doing personal integration of my story and working with this calendar for the past 8 years. I'm in my 9th year now. So again, all of this is about being the process, it's about being the learning, and it's about self-empowerment is the key at the moment. We're on a 13-year cycle of the moon goddess, and that started on the 26th of July last year. So in terms of this personal pattern, so it's what began for you. Remember this, the most important thing is it's about you. It's about I personally. So this began on the 30th of March, and we had the first cycle of 13 days of what the Great Mother is bringing us for our conscious evolution. So again, for you as an individual, what were you doing then? What was happening to you then? On a planetary level, 7 days into the lockdown in the UK, that's what was happening for us. So again, it's important, if you want to work with empowerment, is you blog, log, journal, however you do it, is you make a record of what's happening to you at this time, because more than ever on the planet, in the last 5,000, approximately 200 years, shall we say, the last big cycle, this is unprecedented with everything that we've got going on with the media, that with the awareness, with all the levels of what's gone before. This is a time to really start to work with this code. This is my understanding, this is what's written. And so again, here, back to here. So when we were last in White Wizard cycle was on the 12th of April. And I do write down the key dates of the wave spells on my blog, flowwithjo.com. So I'm constantly updating that. So we've got that to refer to. So you can cross over between this and make it applicable to everyday life, which is key to being able to practically use it. And so at day 8 of every wave spell, so we're now in blue hand, which is here. Okay, so we're in day 8 of blue hand. What we do is we go back and connect to the previous wave spell. And so today we are literally integrating what came before on the 12th of April. So if you go back to then and look at what you were working with in that 13-day process, on a bigger picture cycle, if you go back to the 26th of July, when this 13-year process started, then again, working with this energy is really key for your personal awareness. So this time is about return of the sacred feminine into balance. We've gone into a new 5,000, just over 5,000 year cycle. We've ended a huge cycle back in 2012, and we're now at a whole stage of human evolution. So very key, White Wizard is a planetary evolutionary galactic signature. And this is what we're working with now for the next 13 years. So very, very key. In terms of the astrology today, so we've got Sun in Taurus, and we have got waxing moon has gone into Virgo today. And so at 1 degree, this is in the UK time, a volcano erupting at night, burning through the restrictions of the day, taking on and transmuting the world of ordinary consciousness. Inwardly erupting with all that it leaves out, you become a conduit for the suppressed, the repressed, and the denied facets of self and life, exposing yourself to the onslaught of conventional ideas and their consequences. Aching and longing to turn the world around, you are given to subtle or obvious ways to channel and express what lives inside. You feel intensively committed to bringing it all together within the ordinary compass of everyday life. Saturated with deep impressions of what this earth is moving through, you are being given the chance to stand in for that, to bring it, and perhaps even to become it. That's from a website called aquaorfire.net, and it's a channeled work by Inside Degrees. And in terms of where we are on the 13 moon calendar, it's very significant today because we have begun spectral moon today. It's spectral moon day 1. And what does this mean? in terms of the 13 moon calendar, this is a fixed calendar. It begins on the 26th of July every year. It's split into 28-day process. So on the 26th of July, we began magnetic moon day 1. All of the Mayan coding is using this terminology. So magnetic is day 1, magnetic is moon 1. And in terms of when that was, that's Leo sun time. So it's about heart opening and connection, healing the heart, and maturation of the ego, which is what, again, this time is all about: human beings coming into emotional maturity. Really, really key. It's emotional evolution and growing up, taking responsibility for where we are on our path, and in doing so becoming empowered, so healing all our disempowerment. And so back then on the 26th of July we initiated something. So what you were doing then for 28 days is key to your personal story, absolutely key. And we just completed yesterday the planetary moon. So we've had 28 days of planetary moon. So we're seeing what was manifest around our red moon energy, which is awakening to being the beacon of light, authenticity, and again, healing all of our human being story so we can embody more of our spirit. And so today we begin 28 days of letting go. So everything that's come before, in terms of back to the 26th of July, what are you working on personally to let go of disempowerment in your personal life? This is what I offer you. This is what it's all about. So we might have a human being story where we've been conditioned to believe that in the material world, this is who we are, this is our persona, this is our personality. And so we've crafted this belief about ourselves. And so we've been on a mission up to now around discovering, who am I? Again, this is key to astrological cycle of Chiron in Aries. Who am I? What is my story? And in terms of what's come before, so when the spring equinox began, we launched into Aries, the hero and heroine story. So at that time, what was happening for us? But it's remembering that this story, this persona, this being, this human being that we believe we are, is simply that. It's a crafted story, it's a persona. It's, in psychological terms, it's how our ego has made up a story about ourselves in connection with lots of other people since our childhood, that has created beliefs, and also that we are carrying on our ancestral story, the next level of it. So for the people who are willing, disciplined, and wanting to live an empowered life from the heart, this is essential to know this story and know that it is a story, it's a construct, and that as we have created it, albeit often unconsciously and with other people, we have the power to change it, as long as we learn how to do that. And again, this is really key to self-empowerment. So the next 28 days are going to be around letting go. And although we've been conditioned to believe that we have to keep adding things to ourselves, we have to keep buying our stairway to heaven, we have to keep boosting ourselves up through matching this cultural belief system of having to prove that we're worthy by achieving certain things, by working hard, by, you know, being productive, all of that. Now it's time to really come into understanding through certainly global events, is that even true? Or is that just something that I have been conditioned to believe in, that keeps me striving, keeps me looking for the next thing, keeps me as a consumer buying more stuff to fill the hole within? So again, this is very key time to look at what we've been doing over the past days since the 30th of March as to how have we been coping with the situation, what have been our avoidance strategies, how are we doing codependent, disempowering relationship still. And what I offer you is one of the key threads about all of this is the narcissistic way of relating. So again, if you haven't checked that out yet, Google that. We've all been affected by it. And on a very simple level, narcissistic personality disorder is very prevalent on the planet. And we've all been affected by it. And it's perfectly natural that it's there, given what's been happening on planet Earth for thousands of years. And basically, on a very simple basis, I offer that it is a coping mechanism. So people who are very narcissistic, who are pathological, using a psychological term, often psychopaths, sociopaths, come from a childhood where extreme trauma has happened to them, and they choose not to feel, they choose not to heal, they choose to operate in a way that is very harmful both to themselves and to everyone else on planet Earth. So we're really going through that experience right now, and each one of us is experiencing what it means to be on the receiving end of narcissistic relationships. So again, bringing it back on a personal level, if you have received very disrespectful, controlling, abusive behavior in your life, in relationship, maybe in a personal way, maybe in your family, maybe in a job, then you are working with this energy. And this is toxic relationship. So again, looking at the bigger picture around what needs to heal, we have huge coping mechanisms on the planet. And again, if you look at these and you look at current themes that are happening right now around health, so anything that causes intoxication, and there is a clue in the language, okay? So anything that causes a human being to be intoxicated, the clue is it's a toxin. And a toxin in base language is poison. So whenever we're doing anything that intoxicates us, this goes back to Red Dragon, anything that we're doing to take the edge off how we feel, avoidance. So a very key one is alcohol. Alcohol is a very poisonous substance. Do your research. Anything along the drug line that stops us from feeling, that numbs us out, that creates an addiction, that takes us to a high place that we don't actually feel, that's an intoxication. And again, this is not about judging it, it just is what it is. So sugar is highly poisonous to human beings, and anything that we are putting into our body that has sugar in it is not good for us. And at this time where we are under pressure from things that suppress our immune system. So stress is key. Anything that is stressing us out, that is toxic. And again, examining exactly what that is key, with honesty, with clarity around just looking and doing research at what creates toxicity in the human being is key empowerment for the individual. So learning new ways, because we've been conditioned to believe for many years in our society that we need to do certain things, eat certain things, push ourselves. Again, examine it. Whatever you're putting into yourself, in whatever way, in the environment, with people, however you're relating, whatever you're consuming, is it healthy? And this is absolutely crucial to be disciplined about this, because things just are what they are. If they're poison, if they make us feel stressed, if they trigger anger and grief emotion, then there's something going on there that needs to be addressed for us on a personal level. So in terms of codependency, that is a key area to focus on in terms of empowerment and learning. And I'm just going to mention a couple of books. So this is a very interesting book. And again, this is about recovery in codependency. And so it's an interesting read. I don't believe in everything to do with the 12-step program. Okay, so I'm just going to say that. Again, it's up to each individual around what they do. And it has worked for a lot of people to let go of being codependent on drugs. So again, I'm not judging that. People are where they are. The key to me is in the number 12. So whenever we're in the number 12, there isn't a shift process going on. It's the number 13 that creates a shift, which is why the Mayan calendar is so important, because this is the goddess code coming in to create the shift. Okay, so moving beyond a 12-step program, I believe, is key, because it can be in some ways simply replacing one addiction for another. So we become codependent on a sponsor. We believe that it's the drug that has the issue in a lot of ways, that we can never ever take that drug again. We can never drink alcohol again because we'll spiral. So my insight on this is that there's a reason why we took the alcohol and the drug in the first place. Again, check out Gabor Mate. He's fantastic. He's an amazing guy who's done a lot of work with addiction. I have personally worked with a lot of people with addiction, and I've worked through my own addictions, and I am still working through them. And I believe it is a lifelong process of empowerment and transformation. So again, lots of these energy of codependency is about belief that I am not enough, that I am not loved, that how that makes me feel. I don't want to feel the pain of that. So this is what led me to emotional freedom technique, and there are no codependent side effects from emotional freedom technique. There are no side effects from emotional freedom technique in a toxicity level, in a poisonous way. Each person is responsible for their own journey. If we radically choose to take full responsibility to be independent rather than codependent, that is so empowering, because it means we don't need anybody else. In Mayan terms, this is blue monkey. Get the monkey off your back. let go of any behavior that means you have to be something in order to be loved by other people. Let go of any need to change your biochemistry to feel good. Let go of any process that you do that gets you high, because actually living life sober, free of mood altering substances, and this includes sugar big time that change the biochemistry, caffeine that gives us a boost. What do we need a boost for? Caffeine is poisonous and it affects our nervous system, which is why when we take it, we go to the loo a lot, because this is a way of flushing out. So again, this is about being really disciplined and taking full responsibility for our personal well-being. Another great book is The Conscious Heart. And again, this is about letting go of believing that we need to be in a relationship in order to feel good. It's about coming into truth, personal truth. And that can be very challenging right now, because naturally at this time of year we want to be in relationship with somebody, because that's just naturally the biochemistry of this time of year of reproduction for human beings. And again, it's coming into healthy ways of doing that and not immediately stepping into another relationship when you've only just finished an old one, because healing all of the reasons and time alone is key. Otherwise we go straight back into doing the same old. And so again, sex is also a codependent relationship, and needing to be in relationship with somebody also is huge. So again, it's just examining how we know how to feel joy and love. So today's cards are when I can find them. I've put them here. Okay, found it. So, Thoth card, Science. Okay, so it's the Six of Swords, and it's bringing into balance the mind. So in terms of website, again, it's EliTarotStrikingly.com. Okay, he does great websites and he does in depth about the cards. And so again, just in a snapshot, you can check this out for yourself. So it's about the intellect itself and creating harmony. So involving spirit, mind and body. So Christ or Buddha consciousness, which again, we're building up to the full moon in Scorpio. This time is the Wesak moon. And so again, check that out, Google that. It's to do with Buddha and his birthday. It's an extremely powerful time. Taurus energy is about Buddha consciousness. So beauty is the highest state of consciousness the human brain can receive and therefore express. The Six of Swords is a fully established and balanced expression of the suit of air. This synchronization is also shown by the planet Mercury being in the sign of Aquarius, which represents the flow of celestial energy that operates the idea of humankind, i.e. the concept of humankind as the image of God. So it's, again, however you see the divinity, we are an expression of the divinity manifest. And so again, understanding about this is really key. Understanding the path of where we are is fully revealed in terms of astrology on an intellectual basis. In terms of understanding the science of embodiments, then it's remembering that, again, this is paradoxical and complicated. These are huge esoteric understandings, but trying to put this on a basic level is the most important thing if you want to be the Red Skywalker human being doing the conscious evolution process, shaping your destiny in this blue hand cycle, is to use tools that do that for you, is to learn how this human being body works and understand that just thinking something does not change the story, that actually healing the amygdala constantly, daily, is what rewires the story. That's the science of it. So the story of who am I is not the focus. We take the story and we heal it. So the focus is, who do I want to be? What journey am I on? The end goal in mind is to be the Buddha process, to be free of the old story, to be in the emotional center, to be free and clear of distortions, and to let go of living the narcissist wounding pattern. And as each one of us does that, we literally change our day-to-day reality. And of course, this takes time. We are not going to do this in a day. This is a lifelong process. But what I offer you is, the more that you put your focus there and become an expert on psychology, astrology, and use these as your own personal story evolves, emotional freedom technique clears the amygdala, it clears the past story. And all I can offer you is, I've been doing this process with the cosmology for 13 years. 13 years doing the emotional story, only 9 years using the cosmology. It can be important for the mind to understand the astrology and the cosmology, but it's not necessary. That's an added bonus. Knowing that information will actually reveal more information about your personal story and your life script. So the astrology does reveal that. In terms of, do I need to know that? No, you don't. I didn't know any of it when I really started in earnest with this. What I knew was, I just wanted to let go of keep repeating this pattern of being around very narcissistic people and how that affected me, because that had been my lifelong story, and I had become very ill, and I had become very distorted in my behaviour, trying to cope with the effect of it and not really understanding it and not really understanding myself. I just knew that I kept doing and being around people and in relationship with people who were not loving and respectful with me. And this is huge. So again, this is really key. The focus has to be on healing the personal story, because if we don't do that, it doesn't change. This is what I offer you. This is where the focus has to be. Healing the personal story. Once we start to heal the personal story, this is all coded in. And then we start to make different choices. A lot of people have changed behaviour without doing this inner work, you know, so they've had really strong willpower and said, right, I'm not going to drink anymore. And they've done the 12-step process, for example. I'm not going to be in relationship anymore. And some people have just ended being in any relationship at all. What I offer you is you can use your willpower, and if you combine it with healing the amygdala, then you will see your life change radically. So again, to use an example, it doesn't matter if you've got a PhD in something scientific, for example, in terms of will it change my life as to experiencing more joy. And the reason why it won't is because if on the inside you have a belief system that you're not lovable, that you're not enough, then it won't matter how many degrees you've got, or how many books you write, or how many houses you've got, or how many businesses you've got, or how much money you've got, or if you buy an island. We're seeing the evidence of that now. So we've been conditioned to believe that as we increase our status, we feel good. Now, clearly on the world stage, when we've seen people who are huge in the movie world, for example, and they've ended their own lives. So we can learn from these other models that material success is not the key. It also doesn't mean that we delete that out. It's important for us to have structure, safety, feeling safe where we live, having a nice home, all of that. But the balance around that has tipped way beyond what is healthy. And so again, this is key to the narcissistic pattern of, if I have money, I have power, and I have control. And that is actually being shown now, where this imbalance goes. So again, we may in society have different views and opinions. Of course we do, because it's based on our own personal life experience. In terms of the Saturn in Aquarius now, the new age in Aquarius coming in, then we can see how it's important to try and find solutions, because that's what Aquarius is all about. To try and find solutions that are fair to all. What seems to have happened at this current time, from my perspective, is that there are lots of differing views and opinions, and we've got to a stage where action has been taken, where there is no discussion about it, and people have been parented, policed, whatever you want to call it, in a way that is very disempowering, because they have had to accept the opinions of the people that they have voted in to be in that position of parenting, and are not able to speak out and to debate, or to ensure that there is a platform there that is solution focused and focusing on evidence. So what we're being shown is there is a huge potentiality for manipulation in the media. There's a huge potentiality for manipulation of story, for manipulation of people's fear, and of course this is what we're seeing manifest on the earth right now. So again, it's what that allows to happen. It allows us to show the collective community fears, and most people aren't aware of what their own personal story is or their own personal fear is. They're still largely unconscious of that. And even more, there's a lot of people who aren't willing to address that and take responsibility for that. So this allows lots of things to happen. So again, lots of things coming into view around what does this allow to happen. In terms of the Mayan calendar, we're revisiting 1967. This is the last time that we had white galactic wizard on the planet as a 13-year cycle. So for me, I was 2 years old and I am back in a house with my mum, and I'm revisiting that cycle again. So if you were around in 1967, what was happening for you back then? If you weren't around, then this is key to your mother or your primary caretaker, who was the mother for you. And so you will see how their patterns were being shaped. Primarily in terms of DNA, if you know your birth mother, this is really key. If you were adopted, then you will still be working through the same pattern, because my understanding is we have a pattern to work through in this lifetime and to evolve it. So knowing this information is really key for you. So key empowerment questions are: where have I experienced disempowerment in my life? Where have I been in narcissistic abusive patterns where I've been controlled, I've been projected upon? They've got often a very damaged story, the narcissist, and they can't actually see you. They're just continually projecting their story onto you. So, and they're trying to make you personally pay for what's happened to them in their childhood. That's a crucial understanding. So again, who are you with right now? What is that a match for? Who am I modeling? So who am I in my ancestral pattern? Who am I in my family? So for me, for example, the Red Skywalker in my family is my grandmother on my mother's side, so my maternal grandmother. I am embodying her story. And so again, looking at general themes that happen then, if you've got people you can talk to, this is really key. Do a family tree, find out more information. What is happening today that this is a match for in your personal experience, because it always is? Who are you with? Who's in your family today? Who's in the lockdown with you? How is that repeating the old story? And it can really help with trying to get clear of codependent patterning. Remember, we're in it constantly, and so we're revisiting it. And it takes a lot of work to heal this and move out of it. So we don't know what we don't know. We are often veiled in that until we're ready to make a shift on a personal level, and this is always on a timeline as well. So it can help to create a template of the narcissistic pattern. There's loads of websites out there as well that you can look at that explain things, and other people's personal stories can often be helpful to understand how we've been disempowered. Often, remember, the process of denial in our psychological makeup means if we don't feel safe, we don't want to look at it. Again, so just being gentle with yourself and recognizing that if you've been going through a lot of things recently that you may not be able to see, you may be exhibiting Stockholm syndrome, which is you're trying to make friends with the people who are holding you imprisoned in whatever way that is for you. So that can be a very key coping mechanism for people. It's a survival mechanism. So often when we're in narcissistic abusive relationship, we try and make friends with those people so that we can stay safe. And it's also recognizing that we do that, though. This is really key, because in order to move out of that, we have to acknowledge that we are not doing healthy behaviors. And if we really want to step out of disempowering relationship, then we have to be able to see that in terms of our own actions. So again, key at the moment is astrological patterning. And so at the moment we have got Vesta in Gemini. Again, this is the fire within. This is the current Beltane cycle. So Vesta asteroid is about the sacred hearth within us. And so this current transit, we've got lots of Gemini coming in, and I will be doing a webinar on the full moon in Scorpio on this. So Vesta in Gemini works with communication, gifted with networking and coordination, inspire other people to devotion, but they may try to avoid all contact with emotion or intimacy. They're good at multitasking, they teach and find answers, they seek to acquire as much knowledge as possible and share it. They may need to learn to slow down and find themselves. They may have problems due to over-intellectualizing their experiences instead of feeling the emotion. And this is from a website called alwaysastrology.com, Vesta signs. So again, having awareness of this can give you a bigger picture understanding as to what behaviour is going on. It's also recognising that we're coming up to the full moon in Scorpio. So key for Scorpios in particular, where is Scorpio in your chart? This whole axis is about survival. It's about letting go very much of what is no longer serving us, the death and rebirth energy. Again, often with Scorpio energy, it can be around what we want to hide, staying hidden, feeling paranoid, feeling scared, and not feeling safe to be able to speak our truth, and feeling fragile. Again, this is so key and core to being an empowered human being, is to heal our fragile ego, which I offer you everybody has on the beginning of this journey. You can't heal that through intellect. You can't heal that through adding something onto yourself. This is about healing the emotional mind. This is about healing all the times that we have had dissonance. Again, another word for spectral moon is dissonance. This is about healing where we have experienced times of disempowerment and being told that we are not good enough. This is a core understanding now. This is within us. It's not outside of us. Today, there's some major planetary alignments. So this is from a Facebook group called Transcendental Karmic Astrology. And she writes a lot about karmic astrology. So again, understanding patterns. And again, there's a big misunderstanding around what karmic means. So karmic is about patterns. So there's no judgment, there's no good or bad, it just is what it is. So if we do certain things, they have outcomes. And again, often we distort this emotionally and we place meaning onto things because we have had events in our lives which have distorted truth. Once we start to clear these, we can really connect to an objective truth, and there is such a thing as objective truth. There is such a thing as being in alignment with things that are healthy and natural and good for us. Truth, not the things that we've been conditioned to believe in or that we have an opinion about based on our life experience, which sometimes that aligns with objective truth and sometimes it doesn't. Sometimes it's just where we are on our path. So Chiron, Juno, Astraea dissolved opposition. So again, going back to asteroids, which is what White Wizard is linked to. Chiron is the wounded healer. So we've got Chiron in Aries at the moment. And Juno is in Libra. So again, this is around committed relationships. Astraea is about where we've got karmic issues. And so again, check all of those out, Google those, find your own personal cookie trail on those. The orb of the Astraea Chiron trine is still within 1 degree, and as it's in the elements of fire, it makes the potential for healing and transformation even more powerful. While most trines are lazy, fire trines are the most active, and this particular one is getting a kick from Juno in Libra. Juno retrograde, I think that is, that she's put. The First Lady is opposite the centaur of karmic wounds and receives a sextile from Astraea, filling the space, time with reason and knowledge. So again, it links in to this card, which is science. So it's really learning and focusing on the structures. This is what Blue Hand is all about, of healing and understanding how to heal ourselves primarily, how to change the I story so that we come into an emotionally centered space and that we let go of being around dynamics, people who are full of drama, and that's how they get their attention. And that is not a space of joy and respectful and loving communication. So on one level, we have to be really, really disciplined and stop that relationship, stop that trying to believe that people who are running that energy are good for us. Because when you've done that a few times, over many years, you realize that that is not the case. And if they are not doing personal healing work, they are not going to change, and we cannot change them. So in terms of the Mayan, we've got the mystical power, which is number 7, which was yesterday. So again, what was resonating heaven on earth for you yesterday in a healthy way, and creating heaven on earth in your own life. In terms of which Mayan sign that is, that's Blue Hand, the mystic. So again, the top of the pyramid, and the Zolkin actually is the shape of a pyramid. So when you look at it, there's the way in that goes up the pyramid, which we're in at the moment, and that began on the 30th of March. As we get to the centre, so the centre line, the blue monkey line in the middle, then that is the top of the pyramid. And so that's the 7th plateau. And so if you were to print it out, which I think I'm going to do that, you can actually make that pyramid. Okay, so you go up, get to the top, blue monkey, 13-day process, and then we're coming out of it down the other side. So this is what the 260-day cycle is all about. But at the moment, we're in the red castle, and so we're just initiating what we're going to be working with. In terms of the goddess cards, we've got Hathor, which is all about joy. And again, you know, that symbolism. So there's lots of these archetypes and symbolisms which show a process. And so Isis energy, Taurus energy that we're in at the moment, it is what it is. Ice is. Okay, so I honour my body with the gifts of Hathor, music, song, dance and touch. Enjoy celebration, I exult in life and honour your bequest. Remembering who we really are as sacred human beings is key now. So often we've forgotten that. We've forgotten how amazing are we. You know, we're this amazing human being that has all these amazing abilities, our body, how our body works. We're in this Garden of Eden. When we give birth to another being, how amazing is that? And yet now it's not seen in that way by so many people. Just to give birth to another human being, that is a complete miracle. To be a parent, again, back to my daughter today, I just feel so blessed. I can't see her at the moment, and no, that is really, yeah, just feeling that emotion right now. Looking at the bigger picture, as an empowered adult human being, I want to live in a world where I am honoured, where I am respected, where I am loved, where my experience and opinion counts. And at the moment, that is not happening on planet Earth. And so for me, that needs to change. So my focus is on being the human being that is responsible and transforming myself in order to transform the world. And letting the magic flow through me and learning more about the tools that can set me free on a personal level and be the change that I want to see in the world. Lots of love to you today, and wherever you are on your path, lots of blessings to you, and may you activate the fire within for personal empowerment and letting go of what is no longer serving us. Lots of love. Bye for now.